This is the ASMR Nerd, and today we're going to be doing something different, something new. It's not Skyrim, it's not Civ 5, it's not Minecraft or Pokemon. It is EverQuest Landmark, which is currently in beta, technically closed beta, I guess, early access, anyway. And it is an up-and-coming game from Sony Online Entertainment. It's gosh, how to describe it? It is a game of, it's sort of based on, well, building, really. I mean, that's the key. But resource collection as well, and apparently down the road there will be combat. There's definitely exploration elements right now, all kinds of good stuff. So I think the nature of the game will become apparent as I play it and as I talk about it. But before I get started, I just really want to really quickly thank YouTuber Sethos, who very generously gave me the beta key that I'm using right now to play this game. That was back in, gosh, April, I want to say. So I've been playing this game on and off for several months now. And I also like to thank YouTuber Razvan, who also offered me a beta key, but I already had one. But thanks to both of you guys for being so generous, because this is a very cool game, and I'm really glad to have had the opportunity to play it for the last few months and to do a video with it here. I'm glad I finally had time to get around to making a video with it. So, Landmark. What is Landmark? On the surface, it's a lot like Minecraft. You start with basically nothing, or just a couple of tools. You harvest resources, you build some humble structures, you harvest better resources, build better crafting stations, build cooler structures. That's sort of the gameplay loop. But it's, I would say, a lot. Well, Minecraft is, I mean, there's a lot to Minecraft, and there's a lot in terms of survival elements, for instance, that it has that Landmark does not. But in terms of building, I'm just going to show you this structure over here. This is, I don't know, what does it say? This is Frenzel's structure, claim number 5. We'll vote that up, sure. Or something, I don't know. Anyway, so the one thing about Landmark is that it is a persistent online world, sort of like an MMO, and so you are playing in a space shared with hundreds or thousands of other people, and a persistent space that you share with them. So this is a structure that somebody else has made, and it's quite something. I don't even know what to make of it, but it's okay. So there's some water here, apparently. They've got, I mean, this is kind of a madhouse. It's crazy. You can look up through what they've done here. But the degree of control and detail when you're building in this game, I would say far exceeds that of Minecraft. The game is made up of blocks called voxels, volume pixels, if you will, volumetric pixels. But this game hides it much better than Minecraft does. Well, Minecraft doesn't even try to hide it, but This game sort of smooths it all out with some interesting results. The behavior of voxels can be quite idiosyncratic, as you can sort of see here, especially if you have not a lot of experience with them. So while the tools in this game are definitely more complex and more powerful than the building tools in Minecraft, they also take quite a bit more to master, I would say. But you can do some really crazy stuff with it. This is a very avant-garde structure, but there are some more conventional structures that I've come across as well, and I've built some more sort of conventional looking stuff. But really, when it comes to building, the sky's the limit. It's remarkable what can be achieved in this game. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's first talk about what we're seeing here. So this landscape, to the best of my knowledge, is procedurally generated, and the player base is split up into, I want to say right now, about maybe a dozen or less servers, and each server is made up of what are called islands, which, if we open up the map here and zoom out a bit, we can see. So this is one island. This is the island of Cove, and it's where I happened to start. It's just where the game placed me. My server is Serenity. So there are, I don't know, anyway, dozens of islands per server, and each island is this sort of procedurally generated landmass with different biomes. You can see I'm in a snowy biome right now, but there's also these sort of jungly spaces. There's temperate areas, there's deserts, there's sort of badlands, there's obviously ocean and shoreline. Got some weird corruption going on up here. Anyway, you can see that there are flags placed all over the landscape here. Each of those flags represents somebody's claim, which is a little parcel of land, a piece of property that they have laid claim to, in which only they are allowed to build and modify the terrain. Furthermore, if I click Show Claimable Land here, a bunch of the map gets painted red, and those red areas indicate the space around claims. So the claim itself is really not much bigger than the flag here on the map, but the red space represents sort of a buffer zone in which other people are not allowed to put their claims. So that sort of avoids the, or minimizes the bad neighbor issues that might crop up. And of course you can place claims adjacent to your initial one to expand it, like this person here clearly has. There you can see the claims themselves. So that's the sort of the way this landscape works, and it's dotted with resources all over. So you can see there's trees around here, and I am free to pull out my axe here, and let's just say we'll take down this tree over here. So because I'm not in anyone's claim, I'm able to simply start chopping this tree, and you just click once and your fellow will automatically chop away. Normally there's a little health bar. I don't know why the health bar isn't showing up here, but after a short amount of time the tree will kind of explode. And there we go. Explodes into all these splinters. But by chopping that tree down, I got some plain wood logs here. So this is the inventory system, which has a slot for every material that you're able to mine or craft right now. And then there's also this backpack, which is where you have your tools and your consumables and things like that. So you can go over to the chat tab here and it'll show you what you've harvested. Under the loot tab, there's also a general chat, obviously. Move that out of the way a little bit more just to maximize what we can see here. So just like with the trees, I can select my trusty pickaxe here, and I can start harvesting this mineral node here. This is copper. And so the way the terrain in Landmark deforms is much more organic and piecemeal than in, for instance, Minecraft. I'm going to be comparing this to Minecraft quite a bit because it's just inevitable. There's a lot of parallels, although a lot of differences as well. So you can see this vein sort of works its way into the ground here, and you sort of follow it in, and chunks fly off, get sucked up by your character. You start with a very basic pickaxe, a stone pickaxe, and you can eventually craft an iron, or a copper, and then an iron, and then I think a silver pickaxe. And so there's tiers of tools, much like in Minecraft. So I think we've followed this copper node to its termination here. Almost. Sometimes it's hard to tell. There's little bits of copper sort of left clinging to the edges. You can just barely see the texture there. I think there's some here. Yeah, there we go. And if I wanted, I could keep digging. I do not know where the bottom of the world is, because I've never been there. I've never had reason to dig that deep. I suspect it's down there eventually, though. And I'm honestly not sure if there are rarer resources further down, as is the case with Minecraft. What I do know is that the islands of the world are split up into tiers, so you can sort of see up here in the faint writing in the top left of my screen that Cove is a tier 1 world, and in it, or a tier 1 island, I should say. And on a tier 1 island, it's my understanding that you find lower tier resources, which are things like copper, iron, little bits of tin to a lesser extent, minerals like, or gems like agate, and aquamarine, things like that. And then eventually you can move to higher tier worlds, or excuse me, higher tier islands, where you can find more advanced resources. There's a lot to say about this game. I know I'm not taking the most organized approach to it. I don't really have a plan for this playthrough. I'm just kind of showing off various aspects of the game as I think of them and as I come across them. So this is by no means a comprehensive introduction to the game. There is a lot going on even at this relatively early state. So we'll finish mining this node here, and then we'll go. I'll show you the crafting stations. So one element that's currently lacking in this game is any kind of survival, really. There's no damage. You have no hit points yet. It's my understanding that they do intend to implement enemies at some point in combat. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I've read Obviously, there's no fall damage. I can just jump off this cliff and be totally fine. The movement is very free. Move pretty quick. Sprint with a shift. There's no stamina or anything yet, anyway. You can jump relatively high. And your character's a little spastic. He's incredibly acrobatic, especially when you're sprinting. You have a tendency to just do all these tumbles and rolls and crazy stuff. Flips. When you start the game, there is a sort of a character creation screen. It's purely cosmetic, and when I created this guy, there weren't very many options. Maybe sort of 6 faces and 6 hairstyles, that kind of thing, but I think there are going to be more eventually. And if I just deselect my pickaxe here, put that away, I can pan the camera around, show you my fellow here. He's kind of got a little bit of a Obi-Wan Kenobi circa Revenge of the Sith look going on, sort of. And he's just got a basic outfit. You can craft new outfits by collecting materials from plants and then using a crafting station. Or you can buy them from the in-game store, which brings me to another point. This game, I'm fairly certain, is going to be free to play upon its release. But it is fairly rife with microtransactions, item shop stuff. None of it's mandatory. A lot of it is either buying resources or buying time-saving stuff or buying cosmetics or like prop packs and things like tables and chairs and stuff. I don't know. Taking a look on the Steam forums, because this game launched a little while ago in early access on Steam. Taking a look at the Steam reviews and the Steam forums, it would seem that the item shop and the microtransactions are sort of rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And, you know, maybe once I've played more of the game, I'll sort of have more of an opinion on that. I've barely even looked at the item shop, truth be told, and it hasn't really bothered me much or at all, you know, that I'm lacking those things. Some people call it sort of a pay-to-win model. I don't know that there's really any winning in this game. It's more of a creative sandboxy thing, so I don't know. You know, that's, again, maybe my opinion on that will change at some point in the future, but as of right now, I'm really happy to just play the game as is. I haven't spent a cent, and I don't know if I will. Let's head towards the center of the map, which is this icon right here, the portal spire, which is just over this way, I guess. The portal spire is where you will always spawn in to a map, to an island. And then you sort of move outwards from there. The portal spire is also the place where you'll be doing your crafting for the first bit of the game. there's in-game mail as well, accessible from a mailbox here. So, excuse me, anyhow, this is where you start. This is where you'll do your basic initial crafting to get some better tools. I'm just going to show you over here. This is a really cool structure that somebody's built here. I think this was actually a winner of a community building competition at one point. It says here, Academy of Magic and Wizardry, Landmarks of Landmark winner. Back in May, it looks like, by somebody named Arabeth. But this just gives a really good idea of some of the fantastic building that's possible in this game. Really cool architecture here. A lot of skill and a lot of time went into doing this. I can say that with some certainty because I've spent a little bit anyway, a little amount of time playing around with the building tools in this game, and I still struggle to make anything more exciting than a box. There are tons of sort of uncatalogued techniques for manipulating voxels, which I'll show off shortly. And they're, like I said, funny, sort of idiosyncratic little things that take some serious experience to manipulate well. But this is just a beautiful, beautiful structure. We've got some sort of greenhouse garden underneath the floor here. We've got, tables and chairs, and bookshelves, and these gorgeous windows. These railing banisters here. All kinds of amazing stuff. Really gorgeous. And beds up here. So very cool. And I've seen, even more amazing structures on the forums, on videos and screenshots. So that's what excites me the most about this game. So I used to have a claim on this island. My claim used to be up here on this little island off the coast. Really beautiful little spot. Doesn't look like it because the LOD, low poly LODs on the map, but really pretty little island with a couple of trees. But that brings me to one of my least favorite aspects of this game, which is the fact that your claim requires an upkeep. Currently that upkeep is in the form of copper ore. They might change that. It's on the order of, I think, 300 copper ore per day to maintain your claim. And you can prepay for a week at a time. But if you let a week go by and your claim lapses and you haven't gone back to top up your upkeep, you lose your claim. Whatever you've built gets saved as what they call a blueprint, which is a big template which you can then place in other locations. So your creative work isn't lost per se, but and you do get back all the materials that you put into building. But someone else can obviously come by then and take that spot that was previously yours, and oftentimes, at least for me, the building that I am constructing is very closely integrated with the landscape that it's sitting on. It sort of matches the contours of the landscape, or it might be built in a specific style that I feel matches the surroundings, and so the building and the structures and the layout and the style are not always transferable, I guess, to a new location. So it can be a real bummer when you lose that claim like I did on that island. And I don't think it's unreasonable reasonable to leave a game for a week. You know, I mean, if you're traveling or if you're just playing something else for a week or whatever, you know, it's easy to forget to top up the upkeep for a week. And so that is, I mean, I understand why they have that system in place, but it's probably one of my least favorite elements of the game so far. I don't know if they're going to change that, you know, allow you to prepay for more than a week at a time. That would be great. Or get rid of it entirely, or change the nature of that upkeep cost. Who knows? So I was heading north because I was going to go lay a new claim somewhere. If we toggle show claimable, we can look around and see. There are a number of nice looking areas where I could lay a claim. I really like Coastline. Maybe this bluff over here. This looks quite pretty. Or something over here on this bay. I do know the North Coast is very nice, having been there. Could place a claim maybe here. But we'll see. There's definitely corruption on the map here. It's something I've noticed before for sure. But before we go and lay a claim, what I'd like to do is craft myself. I'm gonna have to figure out where to do this. Maybe it's at the Tinkerer's workshop. I want to make myself a couple of basic crafting stations so that I can be self-sufficient out there and not have to come back here to the Portal Spire. So we're at the Tinkerer's workshop. We have under crafting station, Stone Forge, Tech Forge, Alchemy Station, Tinkerer's workshop. Obviously the really important thing to have here is a Tinkerer's workshop, because that lets you build all these other things. For a Tinkerer's workshop, we need 100 bundles of plain wood planks, which I've got. We need wild heartwood. We need 20 of those. We need 30 iron ingots. So the crafting system is sort of based on prerequisites and things. So to get wild heartwood, for instance, I need to get to craft the wild heartwood, and to craft the wild heartwood I have to come over here to the alchemy station. I go to the infused heartwood options, and then I have here wild heartwood, which requires palm hearts and heartwood, here we go, and palm hearts. Heartwood is sort of like a rare material drop that you get when chopping a tree. You might have noticed when I was chopping the tree earlier, a few of the resources it dropped were like glowed bright yellow. So those were the heartwood pieces, and you only get a few pieces of those for every tree you chop down. And then the palm hearts are a similar type of item. They are a rare drop from a very specific type of palm tree, which only grows in a very specific biome, which is, turn off the claimable land, the jungle biome that you see out here, this green area. But it's a very particular kind of palm tree you have to cut down, and they are somewhat few and far between. You are also competing with other players for those palm trees, because they need them as well. They do respawn after a while, but it takes a bit. Another funny element of that is that some servers, or some islands, excuse me, that I've been to, don't have any jungle on them. So there are none of these rare palm trees, therefore you cannot get heartwood on those islands, which forces you to go to other islands to find heartwood, which is good in a sense because it encourages exploration, but it's kind of annoying in another sense because running around can get kind of tedious. Like, you move pretty fast, but these islands are also pretty big. So workshop before I go set up another claim, but I also would really like to show you guys some of the building tools in this game, since that's really the core of the experience and the most exciting part of the game, in my opinion. So, you know, I can always come back and build a Tinker's Workshop later. For now, let's just go place a claim somewhere random and build something just to show it off. I can show you guys the basics of building. Let's go up here. Let's build on this ridge. It's not very far from the Portal Spire. It's in sort of an epic mountainy landscape. I feel like this is a very disorganized introduction to the game, but it's just how it goes. It is a fairly pretty game. I do like the graphical style. You can see, you know, these nice big tall trees make this feel like a bit of a real forest almost. And especially at sunrise and sunset, this game is really pretty. There's some gorgeous lighting, some nice sort of god rays, I call them, but those sun rays, crepuscular shafts, I think they're technically called. But performance is another sort of downside to this game. It is a real performance hog, and now of course it is still in early beta, or mid beta, or whatever they want to call it, but they've promised there will be a performance patch soon, and I certainly do hope so, because, well, right now I'm getting, you know, 50 or 60 frames per second, which is okay, but if I turn around, I'm willing to bet, yeah, it drops to about 30 or even the high 20s, which is, you know, that's not that great, especially considering that my PC is not exactly weak. You know, I've got a pretty beefy processor, not the most current graphics card, but you know, good enough to run most games at full settings at 1080p. I'm running this on mostly the highest settings, but I've got the shadows turned down a notch or two because they really hit the performance hard. And even so, even turning those down a bit, I'm still getting only about 30 FPS a lot of the time, so at this state it is not very well optimized, and it does take a very beefy rig to run. So here we are, and this actually looks like a great place to do a little bit of building. Whether I will keep this claim or not, I don't know. It's got quite a nice view out to some jungly areas, some snowy regions, but I'm a real fan of the seaside locations. I wish I could show you the ocean, because it's got a really beautiful water effect with these rolling waves and this really pretty shader. But it takes a long time to run to the coast from here, and I don't want to spend the whole video doing that. I want to make sure we get some building in, so let's do that. Now, I have a claim flag, which you get back when your previous claim expires, so I don't need to craft one. I've got it here. So let's, so I right click the claim flag now, and I can zoom in. Just kind of zooms out to this map. I can right click to rotate the map and get a better idea. So you see the claim has a volume to it, and you can use the mouse wheel to move it up or down. It's a little bit finicky, definitely trying to find a good spot. Now you can of course later on build adjacent claims, or place adjacent claims, but that gets quite expensive. The adjacent claim flags are quite pricey, so I think this looks pretty good right about here. It should allow me to build maybe like that, a pretty neat tower some kind of structure up here. So let's place that. So here it says each claim you stake increases your upkeep rate. An amount equal to your current upkeep rate is deducted from your upkeep bank balance every 24 hours. To maintain claim ownership, you must ensure there are sufficient funds in your upkeep bank to pay this upkeep. So, current rate is 0 because I didn't have any claims. New rate will be 300 per day for every 24-hour period. And my rent is due in at this time, so let's confirm that claim. So, currently prepaid for 1 day. You get 1 day's worth when you place your claim. So, it says, where does it say here? Anyway, somewhere it said that a maximum of 8 days, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 8 days of real time. So, that's going to be 2,400 copper, which I've got, although only just. So let's deposit that. So I'm good for really 9 days, I guess. So it's a little bit more than a week, I suppose, but it's still not that long. So now that I've got a claim here, let's start talking about building tools. So the most basic tool is what I've got, number 1 on my hotbar here. That's just the add tool. You can change the size of the brush with the scroll wheel, and it gets quite large indeed. I don't know when it stops, it just goes forever. But so you can use this to place basic stuff. So let's just place a block. So the brush snaps to voxel, or to a grid, basically. And the 1 voxel size is sort of the highest resolution of that grid. Later on, you'll see that there are ways to manipulate voxels to be smaller than 1 voxel. They call those microvoxels, and you can use them to do all kinds of cool detail work and inlay and stuff like that, but we're not going to get into that for now. When you're working in your own claim, you're able to undo and redo with Control-Z and Control-Y, which is just a godsend. That's fantastic. So the way the resources work is you have your material library over here. So I select material type here. It's divided up into tabs. We've got metal, wood, stone, and liquids. And then sub-tabs. So under metal we've got copper, tin, iron. Under wood we have various kinds of wood. Stone, we have various kinds of stone. And dirt. So right now I'm just using dirt, and I'm using the stuccoed wall texture because I have tons of dirt, as you can see, 114,000 voxels worth of dirt. And stuccoed wall is just this nice kind of white, clean looking texture. So we'll build with that. It's really nice for building like Mediterranean style buildings, which is what I've been doing recently, although this location is not the most appropriate for that. So instead, maybe let's look at stone. We'll go to the stone material, and we will use, there's a bunch of textures you can choose from, but let's pick these small granite bricks for now. And you can see I have significantly less stone than I did dirt. I've only got about 7,000 stone, which is kind of why I like to build with dirt, but we'll build with a bit of stone for now. We can always go mine some later. For that, maybe I'll switch away from the bricks actually. Maybe I'll do floor tiles, granite floor tiles. So, the add tool is all well and good, and it's great for doing small additions. There's also the subtract tool, which is exactly what you think. It removes material, but even better than either of those is the selection tool, because the selection tool lets you basically drag a selection box and then manipulate the stuff inside that selection box. So let's say I just want to get rid of all this stuff. Let's say I just want to flatten this out, get rid of all this junk here. I can just do that and just hit the delete button. Boom, it's all gone. Which is super powerful. I don't want to do that, so we're going to undo that. But you can also use it to fill. So let's say, well actually, maybe I do want to do that. Sure, let's flatten this off a little bit. Let's just select, go down to a single voxel size. We'll select a nice big area here. I'll just drag that out a bit. Hit the delete button. Let's just carry that out. Carry that out this way as well. There we go. So now we've got a nice flat building area, which unfortunately we have a little lip here. It's kind of a wear out. Okay, so let's actually undo that, because that's going to be, that lip just falls just outside of my claim here, so I couldn't do anything about that. So you can hold down the shift button to move a selection up and down. There, looks a little better. And I'm grabbing the faces of the selection here to just drag the box out. Let's pull this back this way a bit. There we go. That's a little better. Some of the texture stuff is a little weird. You can see the way the textures blend, but it's alright. So let's now lay down some floor. So let's do that also with the selection tool. So I go with the selection tool and I drag out a big square here. Let's say we'll make it, let's make a 32 by 32 voxel pad here to start with. And just drag this up a little bit. We'll make it just one voxel thick because we don't need a big thick floor. And I can drag this around a little bit, place it down so that it's just on the level of the ground, like so, just sitting within the ground. And we'll drag it back this way a tad. And then all I have to do is select the add tool here, then click that space, and bingo, that is now made out of granite floor tiles. So let's build some walls in a similar fashion. This is a really paste method here, and I'll set to rotate this item. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the controls either. This isn't so much a tutorial as it is just kind of a, hey, look at this game. It's kind of neat. I'm going to have to fill in the corners there in a second. It's kind of annoying, but... so there we go. There's another wall. Oh, maybe I won't. Wait, what? Did I put that on? Figured I'd have to. Okay, whatever. Anyway, it's not important, but. Did I make this not 32 by 32? Doesn't matter. Okay. So let's just place our 4 walls here. Oops. Rotate that around. Place that like so. So that's looking okay. Except we've got a weird corner over here. I don't know why it turned out okay on some corners, but not others. So let's, I'll fix that in a second, but let's just carve a door out here so that I can get out of here if I want. And once again, selection tool. Let's make the door, say, I don't know, 6 by 12 or something. 7 by 12. 6 by 12. That looks alright. I think that's centered. Is it? Maybe. It's close enough for now. So just delete. There we go. We've got a door. I don't think that is centered now that I look at it. We got a 14 voxel thing there. 13 voxels. Yeah, make it 7. Strip out that a little bit there. And let's fill this gap. Once again, using the select tool. We can just make our little selection here. Nice and easy like that. And fill that in. There we go. So we have a box. A very basic, very ugly stone box. But it's something. So, where did I want to go with this? This video is actually getting pretty long already. Maybe what I'll show is a few templates just to show what can be accomplished fairly easily. Let's switch back to our dirt here. Our stuccoed wall for a second, just for the sake of illustration. I'll show you the template system. So you go down to this tab here, which brings up your templates, and I've got a whole bunch, or a few anyway, that I built of various kinds. I've got some kind of arch. Yeah, here we go. What's going on here? So you can see it is possible to do kind of rounded looking things. Let's just, oops. What other? I've got some columns I've managed to create using some tutorials off the internet. So this is sort of just a very small column, but you can place, you know, a row of these to do sort of a Mediterranean style structure. That's not what I meant to do. What do we have here? Let's, I'll show you. Gosh, so these are claims that I've had previously. I guess this is my most recent one. It's attached to my... There we go. Okay, so... this is what I mean by it's kind of ridiculous to try and place a whole claim. Because it's tried to gather landscape modifications I made. You can see, and I can't really just plunk this down wholesale in my current claim without it looking really silly. But what I want to, I guess, show, well, maybe I can for it. Let's just place it. So that did actually work. You can see the landscape that I had here previously. And the way I modified it, that's really funny actually. That's another element I didn't mention. There's a grappling hook in this game that you can use to get up onto higher surfaces. This was sort of a testing area that I had here. Sort of R&D, where I was playing around with different voxel types and making weird shapes and things. But what I wanted to show was this. This is sort of a Roman-style villa that I was working on. So you can see, you can do, you know, these columns like this. You can do this sloped roof, the shingle textures. I never really got that far with it, but I thought it was looking kind of nice. Certainly nicer than our box over here. But, yeah, you can see the trouble with placing templates from previous claims. You just get this weird stuff happening. It doesn't really mesh. But we'll undo that. So, gosh, there's a lot of other stuff to talk about in terms of the crafting system. Equipment, like these, accessories, and things like that. And obviously all kinds of building techniques that I have not even gotten close to touching on here. All kinds of crazy advanced building techniques to make neat stuff like what you saw back by the Portal Spire. But this was just a little taste of what Landmark is. Another important thing that I should mention, I think, is that this game is a standalone thing, but it's being designed to work in conjunction with EverQuest Next, which is the next EverQuest. It is an MMO that is also in development by Sony Online Entertainment, and it's going to have a similar voxel-based world, and people are going to be able to import stuff from Landmark and import it into EverQuest Next. It's not quite obvious how that's going to play out in terms of like what will be importable and what won't be, and how that's going to work, and how modifiable these windows are not even, how modifiable the landscape will really be, and all that good stuff. But the idea is that players will be able to generate content here in Landmark, which the best of that will eventually be able to make its way into EQ Next, and it'll be experienced by other players and stuff like that. It's all very early yet. Obviously, major systems are missing from Landmark here. Performance is honestly really poor, and there's some sort of questionable design decisions regarding, you know, upkeep and those sorts of things. And there's the whole, you know, cash store that some people are upset about, but I think that there's a lot of potential here. I think that there's a lot of neat innovation that's occurring. Oh, there's a helicopter flying by outside, sorry if you can hear that. And I really like the idea of an MMO that is driven by user-generated content, and then this sandboxy tool that feeds into that. I think that's really neat. I think there's an incredible amount of power in the building tools here, and I've really enjoyed the relatively small amount of time I've spent with Landmark so far. I've got a lot to learn about it, but I'm looking forward to doing that. It's definitely a game I'm going to be playing, through beta and after release as well. So that was my very disorganized introduction to EverQuest Landmark. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it somewhat relaxing. I think it's a great game for ASMR videos in that there's really no conflict. There's, nothing super exciting happening in terms of action and noise and stuff. It's just very zen, kind of gathering, exploration, building, and it doesn't hurt that it's awfully pretty. Oh, and the last thing that I should really mention, the music. Beautiful music, which might sound very familiar to some of you, especially those of you who are fans of Skyrim, because EverQuest Landmark and EverQuest Next, the scores are both being composed by Jeremy Soule, the one and only, who did the Skyrim soundtrack, which is easily one of my top 3 game soundtracks of all time, I would say. And I'm just really thrilled that he's doing these games because I love his stuff. So, just beautiful, beautiful music to accompany your exploration, your building. Anyway, gosh, I talk a lot. Thank you for watching. I honestly don't know what video is going to be next. A lot of you asked for more Civ. I will happily do more Civ, but a new Pokemon and Minecraft are way overdue as well. But I really wanted to get this Landmark video done because, I promised Sethos, the fellow who gave me this beta key, that I would see about doing a video with it, and it's been some months, so this was well